So real quick, guys, as you know, these streams are brought to you by PrimeXBT. So if you want to support me, the best way to do so is through PrimeXBT, clicking the link in the description of this video, sign up to PrimeXBT, input the promo code MAIN50 before you deposit. You get a 7% deposit bonus on whatever you deposit. Now, Prime reached out to me about running a little bit of a promotion for you guys. So I have, I think, 100 codes for a 20% deposit bonus. So MAIN50 gets you a 7% deposit bonus. This gets you a 20% deposit bonus. Still to a max of 7 grand, but you would have to deposit way less money to get that 7 grand. So I have a bunch of those codes to give away. I only have 100, so I don't know the best way to do it. So if you are interested and you're actually going to sign up to Prime and deposit money because you want to trade there, feel free to DM me. And if you're doing it through my link, I'll send you one of these deposit bonuses that get you 20%. Thanks, Prime, for putting that together for us. So we'll start with Bitcoin. We just had the daily close, so let's just delete everything here. Here's the daily chart as it stands right now on Bitcoin. No indicators or anything on it. Right now, you got to assume, right? Like, is this lower low? Is this what we're looking at right now? Lower low, and then this is the lower high. I'm looking for a move into here. So my ideal situation, right, is a move into here, then a move up to here, then I don't give a fuck. 0 or a bajillion dollars. I'll figure that out when the time comes. I think based on the weekly chart and the monthly chart here, that the next draw for price is higher. Like, I think the next main draw on liquidity or daily objective or your bias, I think it's up on the highest time frames. I do think based on how the other markets look, there's some complementary factors there, right? With the dollar pulling back a little here, with ES looking quite strong. So I would love a move below this low into here and then be able to trade that up to here. Up in this area, right? Taking out this significant high, which is right below this weekly fair value gap. This seems to me like a good area for a potential lower high. Maybe it's not. Maybe we get up here and just like we did here and here, maybe we leg up, consolidate, and then leg up again. I don't know and I don't care, but I would like to get in a long trade towards here because I think that is the next potential upside objective. So now I'm trying to time on this pullback when I will be able to get into that long, just like here, right? If you want to long this next leg up, this was the ideal time. Obviously, longing the bottom, no shit. But if a moves happen, right, where do you want to long? You want to long on a retrace. Similar to, you know, what we had over here, right? We had our move up. This wick, it was fast, you guys remember. It did wick below the 50% of the range. Here's our weekly range, right? We're still in the upper portion. So that's why that dip that I want into here also brings us into a discount on this range. And in my opinion, makes it a much more favorable place to get into longs. Obviously, we can go up from here. We do not need to do this pullback that I want, but that's just kind of some of my logic behind it is I want to see a bit of a deeper pullback, shake out some more people who are longing early, thinking it's just going to go up and then smash it. This could be the lower high already though, right? Like, this is not quite at the 50, right? So that move above 32, the inverse of what I just showed you here, would also line up with, you know, bringing price above the 50% of this range, right? And if we're shorting, looking for a lower high, I want to do it in the premium above the 50%. So that's another reason why I would like to see a move up to here. But again, it doesn't have to. Nothing has to happen. No one knows what's going to happen. We're using TA and whatever other tools you may use to try and make an educated guess that is managed from a risk perspective. Based on my TA, which obviously does not work, everyone knows this, I would like to see a move up to here. I'm focused on trying to get in a long, and I would like to get in a long down here, somewhere in this gray box. It does not have to happen. We could go up from right here. We do not have to come down to where I want to enter. We can also roll over from here and through this and new lows. Literally anything can happen. But what I'm doing is I'm laying out, as you guys, I always hammer this into you guys, if this, then that scenarios. If we come into here, I want to look for a long to target here. If we come into here and I do not get any sort of long trigger, or I long and I get stopped out, then I'm just wrong. Right? Like, and that will happen. Don't stress out about potentially being wrong. So that's my kind of high time frame plan. I would like to see a move to 30 32 to 34, 35,000. And I would like to long that below 25K to get there. We can only operate with what we have available to us here. And then as new information becomes available, and new information, I mean new candles, right? More data, then we can tweak and alter and change our plans as we go. Weekly, I still think there is a chance that we go higher here. Now, looking at the 12 hour, which is kind of my high time frame from a trading perspective, right? Where I'm actually looking, for executions and stuff. We have our range here that we've been trading in for, a couple of weeks now. We had multiple rejections here, right? So I talked about the lower high forming potentially in here. Multiple rejections, sold off, reject, up, reject, sold off, up, sold off again, failed to make a lower low. And once we reclaim this low, this is like an SFP. From like a logical perspective and how I view a TA at least, this is the same. The SFP is preferred, right? Like this, but it closed below, instantly reclaimed. The way I trade this is the exact same way I would trade an SFP. So there is a lot of alpha on how I trade just in that statement there. That should add a layer to the cake if you've been paying attention for a long time. To me, this is the same as an SFP. Trade below, instantly back above. You have a breaker form. And on the lower time frames, right? SFPs forming, market structure break, breaker formed, like all the same things that I look for on an SFP entry work here because the logic is effectively the same. Because on one time frame, it's an SFP. On another time frame, it closed through. Like, so look here. This is an SFP on the 1 hour. On the 15-minute, it actually closed above the level, but then it instantly got right back below. So how is that any different, right? Just like this, it's not an SFP on this time frame, but maybe on the daily, not quite 3-day. No, none of these. It's an SFP. Oh, the weekly. It's not an SFP, but it's a run below the weekly low and then right back above it. To me, an SFP is just a level getting faked out. So we trade above it, then we're back below. Some people call this an over-under. Some people call this a deviation, right? Like a trader as Z would call this a deviation. The logic is simple. Just like if you're trading a range, right? We're like, oh, we went above the range, but then we sold back in and now I'm bearish. Well, it's like, why? Because it was like a fake out, right? And now you have your risk defined here. Now this visualized in a candlestick, this can be just a wick like here. Or it can be, a close through, but a very quick reclaim. Like an SFP on the low time frame, this and this on the low time frame, they look the same. It's going to be a move above the level and then back below the level. A move below the level and then back above the level. It's going to look the same, so you can treat it the same, right? Like if I go down to the hourly here, trading below the level, quickly back above, putting in hourly bullish market structure, right? Go to the low time frame up here, traded above the level. We can go down to the 1 minute. This was a pretty hard spike, but the same thing. Trading below, gets above, right back below, and now it's just downtrending. When you kind of understand that they're interchangeable, an SFP is, I think, a better signal because they couldn't even close it below the level. But I put an equal amount of strength in closing below the level, but then reclaiming it immediately. So we had multiple rejections from here. And then when we didn't take out this low, I told you guys what? I said, hey, if we get back above here, right, this candle, I think this area becomes like a breaker. I would then target a long up into here and potentially up into here. So that was the plan from the last stream. If we got back above here because we failed to break down, right? Reclaim, pushed up. We have an internal break in market structure to the upside. You have a high here on the H12. Bang, we're trading higher. So this could absolutely go up from here. Now, the only bearish scenario that I kind of had mapped, right, was I'm leaning bullish, right? I want to see price trade up to here now. That's kind of my plan, and I want to get in a long. But I said there's one potential bearish scenario where it trades up here, but then it sweeps this, right? It deviates this high, and that was just a range fake out to the upside. And now we've got these lows here. Now we're going to trade down to the downside. So this is still very much a possibility, but because of my view on the dollar, because of my view on equities, right? Bearish dollar temporarily, bullish equities for now. I would like to think that if equities can go up, it can take crypto with it. So that's kind of the whole thesis for my trade. Whereas like I could technically just be looking for a short here. Okay, we're in a down leg and we just put in an H12 SFP. I could argue that, hey, I want to be shorting here with a target down here. Completely possible that that is going to be what happens here. But I like the potential of a move higher based on the much higher time frames, and the risk reward is good. If this is the breaker that I'm looking to bid, I will likely try and find a low time frame entry within here, and I'm going to target all the way up there. So if I'm able to get that kind of, low time frame trigger, the risk reward for a move to the upside is really strong. So I'm erring on the side of wanting price to go up and being bullish, because I think that this is an area where there's good risk reward and a reason to have a higher time frame draw to the upside. But I want to get long, kind of where I want to get long. And ideally it was going to be down into here, but for now, I'm going to be focused on this. Okay, so if we come down here, I absolutely will look to long again, but I'm going to attempt to long here if I get the chance. So we've put in a H12 swing low right here, and I was hoping we would get a sweep on this candle. We didn't quite, but now we have kind of equal lows here. So I'd like to see these two lows get run into this 12-hour order block, or breaker block, excuse me, and I would look for a long trigger in here, targeting up here. If this zone fails, the next area I'm interested is down here. So I'm leaning bullish. I'm trying to get into a long. I do see the justification for a short here. Swept the high, clear downside target here, but I'm hoping that we go up from here. So I'm looking for longs. I have my technical reasons for why. I have other markets that I think are correlated, also looking bullish. So that's my game plan for now. A little bit lower, right? Down into the, low 27s here, and then up hopefully to 32K. That would be ideal. If this fails, right? If this zone fails and we get back below this high and we start holding there, and then eventually trade below here, I think we trade down to like 23. That's why I like the long as well, right? Like upside potential here is huge. And if this is wrong, I think we have quite a deep decline into this weekly breaker below 25 and, even maybe below 24. So I'm fine with being wrong here and then trying again down here, or even shorting into down here. So hopefully that makes sense. But if you look at it, the hourly here, it's pretty straightforward. We've got our clear lows here. I want to see these get run, and then I want to see a long setup form, and then I've got my clear targets to the upside. So hopefully everyone understands the plan on Bitcoin. I would like to see a run below these lows for a long. That's my game plan right now. I might not get it. This might be the higher low and I got front run and I didn't get the retest. But I'm looking for a move up from ideally this area. The bearish scenario is if we start trading back below this H12 high here. I don't want us to get a bunch of closes down here. I want a quick move below and then out. If we start closing below this high and trading down, I'm going to assume that this is actually a lower high and that we are going to target here. So maybe I'll look to short. And then if that happens, I'll be looking for longs in my higher time frame breaker. So just like I'm looking for longs here, that fails. My next area is this same type of zone, but instead of the 12-hour, it's the weekly. Plan is long bias for now. Let's see what happens. Ethereum ended up tagging the breaker. So we put in a fresh high here on Ethereum above this old range high. So this was our range from here to here. We closed above. So we have a breaker here on Ethereum, up candle for the down move that took out some lows, and it got a retest. I was hoping, similar to Bitcoin, that we got a decent retest and I could find an entry on the low time frame. Maybe we will pull back again, right? So we have an H12 low here. So just like on Bitcoin, I would like to see this low get run, and I would like to get long below this low for a move up. Bitcoin didn't tag the breaker, Ethereum did. So again, I could be swerved, right? Like the higher low could already be in and we could just trade up from here. But unfortunately, I don't have a long setup right here in the middle here. I want to see a move below here, or I'll get long on a breakout. Same thing with Bitcoin. I want to see a move below here, or I'll get long above here. I'm not going to long kind of this in the middle area because I want to be able to define my risk. So Ethereum did come in, test the breaker here. We kind of have, an H1 SFP, H1 MSB right there, right? So you could argue that, Ethereum, is a long already. You have another H1 SFP, right? This could be it, right? It tagged the breaker. Now it's putting in bullish H1 market structure. That could have been the low. And maybe Bitcoin just front run my shit and I'm not going to get the entry. That might happen. But for now, I'm hoping, because I'm not currently long, that I get a run of these H12 lows on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the plan is the same on both in terms of basically one more drive down, then up. Bitcoin targets initially, I think, would be up here. Well, first would be here and then up here, 30. I think the Ethereum target is, up here, 2000, if this is going to leg up again. Okay, let's look at Ethereum BTC. We've been going sideways on this motherfucker forever, dude. Like forever. Thing's been slow as fuck. This is literally 3 years of sideways. That being said, on the weekly chart here, we have our range. If this is going to go up, where would I like to see this get bullish? I would like to see the bull step in below the 50%. So we had this big leg up, made a higher high here. Now we're retracing into this range. Okay, we've got our weekly fair value gap right here, sitting below the 50%, right at the sweet spot in the OTE. So price traded into this area, and get rid of this now so it's a little cleaner. Traded below the 50%. Zoom into the H12, right below the 50%. What do? We put in a weekly swing failure pattern, bullish swing failure pattern. We have a bullish sweep on the weekly, and you have a 12-hour SFP, and here is your 12-hour breaker, pushed up, broke market structure. Now we're back in it. Another H12 move below, break above, retest, another H12 sweep, and this is just slowly starting to creep up. Just higher highs and higher lows here on the H12. So the concern is that it's just this, and it's going to end fucking poorly. Have a very hard time being an Ethereum bull, right? Like it always seems to just let us down. But for now, this looks okay. I think this can still trade higher. Coming into an area of resistance right here. So I would want to see this take this high here on the H12, right? Which would make a kind of short-term weekly higher high. So if you just look at the weekly chart here, just lower highs, lower lows here, lower high, lower low, lower high, potential higher low. So I want to see price break this trend on the weekly. And to do that, the H12 needs to maintain its uptrending structure. So looking okay, kind of a falling wedge even into support. So I would like to see this, right? Take out this high, that's your confirmation, break there. And then maybe we finally get, a push up to this range high for the first time in over a year. But very slow chart, hate this chart. Hasn't been super useful because it's just been so fucking choppy. Normally, if this thing is clearly downtrending, right? If you're looking along Bitcoin or Ethereum, Bitcoin's the better long, or whatever the correlation is given what the charts are doing. I've done an entire video on that topic. It's in the education playlist. So we'll see. Looking okay for now. Dip below the 50%, back above. Want to see it get above here, and then we can target this 0.8165 range high and be bullish on Ethereum over Bitcoin. So dollar, really happy with how this played out. Called the sweep of the low, said we're going to trade up to here. We literally had 3 straight weeks of up, just right to the level. Coming into weekly resistance here, right? This is the weekly resistance level, kind of a weekly breaker. Ran above that high, traded down, ran the low. Now we're up here. So is this going to put in a lower high? This is going to affect a lot of what happens in other markets, right? If this is the lower high and this goes down, guess what? Risk is going on a party. Bitcoin's going to go nuts. Ethereum will go nuts. Gold and silver will go nuts. These two will go nuts. These two will get smoked. But this can drift higher, I think, into this zone still before potentially going down. But for sure, if we get above here, I think we trade way higher on the dollar, which would be very bearish for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is definitely a chart you want to pay attention to. We want Bitcoin and Ethereum to go up and the stock market to go up. So we want to be looking for those to find support, and we want the dollar to find resistance. This is big time resistance on the dollar. So we want to see it act as resistance, because if it doesn't and the dollar just keeps chatting up, that's not going to be good for risk. Bitcoin, Ethereum, equities, for any USD denominated pairs. So this is a key area. We're into that weekly zone. We had a 12-hour SFP, just kind of consolidating here, but I would be watching this as a sign that we're going to reject at least to down here, this consolidation here, basically, these former highs. So if you're bearish on crypto and bearish on equities, you want to see this pull back and then continue up, right? That's what you want to see. But I do think that this is due for at least a short-term pullback, and then we see what happens, right? It can go from here to up, or it can go from here, right? Bounce. This would be the most bullish scenario for Bitcoin. So I don't know if it's a bubble. I don't know. But for the biggest recession of our lifetimes, price isn't down that bad. All-time high doesn't seem insanely improbable on some of these markets. This is at resistance, but above here, it's all-time high. ES is further off. NQ is also further off, but it's already like got a much stronger breakout. So let's look at ES. So I had April's range marked here. This is April's high. This is April's low. We traded above, back below. We put in a big sweep, and I basically posted in Telegram and all the other places I post. I said, I think we moved back up to April's high. Not only did we do that in one single candle, we broke above it, and now we're retesting it. So technically, you have a bullish breaker here. So I'm okay with trying to find, longs here, low time frame, if they present themselves. I don't have a long trigger here on the H1 currently. Maybe if we start trading back above these lows, maybe there's something. But for now, I don't know. It looks like this is just a breakout and a potential quick retest. We're holding above April's high and we're holding above 4,200. So I think the invalidation for equities bears is super clear because you have April's high here and 4,200, which has kind of been that level that is just capped price for eternity. You just don't want to see us go below there. I do not really want to see price below 4,200 for any sustained period of time if this is going to continue higher. That's simple for me on ES. This is all educated guessing. That's what trading is. If anyone tries to sell it to you that they know what is going to happen, they're snake oil salesman, right? Or woman. Or snake oil sales they them. Fucking clown world. Neck is in pristine form today. I wore the deep V. Undone a couple buttons here so you guys can see not just the neck, but the surrounding area as well. Okay, so this is for you guys here. You're welcome. The stash is back. Dusty as ever. Greasy as ever. About to hit the hipster bar and order some gross IPA. Oh my God, you're hot. You look older than you did a few years ago. Well, that's usually how it works. Jane says maybe because you're getting old, losing energy. Jane, shut the fuck up. I'm full of energy, just not for you. And I use VPN for exchanges because of Canada. Jane, if you want to break the law, using a VPN to access a restricted site would be against the rules and a breach of the terms and conditions of that platform. I would never tell you to do that. You know what I mean? I would never tell you to do that. Maine, how's Jane doing? Why don't you ask her? She's in the chat terrorizing me. Just use the daily. The daily works the same. I just see one extra candle. I get a little bit more data, which makes me just a little bit smarter and my penis a little bit longer. Your girlfriend just a little bit more into me. That's the difference, but it's not much. It's not that big of a deal. Show me your position then. If I'm saying we're going down, you're telling me I'm wrong. Okay, show me your long, Put your money with your mouth is. Stop telling other people what to do. You go market buy. You do it. Come on. Not long like you fucking giga chad. I won't show you my long, but if you ask nicely, I might show you my dick. I wish you had never said that. Ew. I'm gonna ask not nicely and tell you to go fuck yourself. Only wiener I'm interested in seeing is my own. I know we're below 30K, but I'm still not that gay.